Duke's has twang. Does your mayo have it? Do you ask for it by name when you go out to eat? Do you display your devotion to it for all the world to see? Can it elevate your lime cilantro aioli to a level that's borderline holy? If not, you're probably using the wrong mayo. That's because only Duke's mayo has twang. It's that little southern something that elevates food from good to downright ridiculous. Get Duke's. It's got twang.
Happy Monday, everybody, and welcome into the Graham Lincoln Mac Lane podcast presented by Duke's Mayo, episode 245, the Cheez-It Bowl. We are previewing the Cheez-It Bowl between Florida State and Oklahoma. We have a very special guest. I do want to warn people, if this episode does not turn out well, I just looked out my window and a black cat just walked right across my window. So if this episode is terrible, you find the cat and blame him. I'm just going to put that out there.
I thought that you were discussing your conflict of interest with Cheez-Its and Duke's.
I do love Cheez-Its.
I thought that was what you were talking about. Like if we were going to get a cease and desist or something of that nature.
I love Cheez-Its. I will not lie there. And Prince Chedward is one of my heroes / one of my nightmares. He's very scary looking. And I hope that he flies into the stadium again and has his moment. He's a short king. But beyond that, I'm obviously very loyal to Duke's Mayo.
Of course. Question for you. How much amount of money, and maybe the answer is zero, which is great, would it take to dip your Cheez-It in Duke's Mayo as a delicacy?
You know, I would do that.
You would try it? You would try it?
I would do that. Now, it's so funny. Okay, we'll just say this. We got to get this interview. I'm sorry, everybody. You've probably seen on social media that I am pregnant, so that's happening. And so
Surprise,
all
everybody.
this time, yeah. All this time when we've been talking about mayo, and Mac knows I was very nauseous at the beginning. Some of these things, like even when we were talking about dunking you in mayo, I had to almost tune out of the conversation. Take a step back. Because a few times there I was like, this is going to be bad. Oh, the black cat's back, literally walking across again.
Can you show us?
I cannot. I'll break everything. But I think he's moving on. Get away from me, black cat. I don't need that right now.
This is unbelievable. Okay, let me introduce our guest because this guy is unbelievable. Dillan Gibbons from FSU. The story, you have to know it. This young man has won every award under the sun, and as he should from the work that he's done. But he'll be the first to tell you, and we cover this a little bit, he doesn't want any of that. That's not why he does that, but does understand that it's a cool pedestal that he is on now, that all this comes to light and all the support, all the great things, that he is able to do because of people like you and your contributions and the things that you have done for Big Man, Big Heart. So that was really cool. And then just him as a player and as a leader for this FSU team, KG, I really enjoyed this interview. Probably my favorite that we've ever done, just for all that it encompassed. So without further ado, no more black cat talk, no more dipping anything into Duke's Mayo. Let's get to our guy, Dillan Gibbons, because this is a great interview.
Dillan, welcome to the podcast. We really appreciate you taking the time to come on with us. And I think the first question I have to ask is actually a question for Mac. Mac, we're sitting here and we're looking at Dillan. Are you having just beard jealousy and FOMO? Because
envy.
You used to have a beard that rivaled Dillan's, but now you don't.
I've got this clean, tight. I actually just trimmed it this morning, so I'm even more embarrassed now. It was a little bit more girthy, but that's a real man that I'm looking at right now. And I am an embarrassment, a shell of what I once was. I just got to say that. The beard is looking great, Dillan.
I appreciate it. It was a little bit longer at the beginning of the season, but got ripped out in too many places, had to trim it up.
You would get pieces like ripped out in a game?
Oh, yeah. Yes. It's not fun.
Yeah, it happens. It happens to the best of us. But it is, a risk versus reward type scenario.
It's just like a dread. Like sometimes you see dreads like on the field. You're just like, wow, there's that.
Oh.
Yeah, but you hope you can catch them with a hands to the face call.
That's right.
You guys are brave. Okay, well, Dylan, we are going to talk about the Cheez-It Bowl and just the year that you and the Seminoles have had. I mean, it's been an amazing year. But first, I want to start with Big Man, Big Heart, Inc. your nonprofit that, and I wrote this down because I want to get it right, promotes NCAA college athletes' use of their name, image, and likeness for charitable initiatives. And I believe from what I've read, this whole idea started with your friend Timothy, who you met at Notre Dame. So can you tell us more about Timothy's story and how he inspired you?
Yes, ma'am. So it kind of goes back to 2017. So my first year at Notre Dame, we went through camp, of course, and I know Eric probably remembers this because you came in as a tight end, right?
That's right, little guy.
Line. Well, it takes a while to develop as an offensive lineman, and very lucky, very, very few select individuals come in and play right away. So the headspace of an offensive lineman is that you're servicing the scout team, which isn't the most fun thing in the whole world, especially your first year, year and a half of playing college football. So that's a headspace I was in. I was getting through my first game. I was really, excited to see my family. And as I was walking out of Notre Dame Stadium, kind of facing touchdown Jesus and going up through the tunnel, I was approached by like 30 or 40 little kids. They all wanted my gloves. They all wanted the hat off my head. They all wanted something from me. And I was scanning the crowd, just trying to make an impression on somebody. And that's when I met Timothy Donovan. He was sitting in the back in the wheelchair. And I went over to talk to him. I thought it would be, a really quick conversation, but, 15 minutes turned into 30, 30 turned to 45. My family came and found me and met the Donovan family. And that's when we kind of got connected. I got to hear about his story, the struggles that he's had with the disease called vacuolar and Charcot-Marie tooth, the 50-plus surgeries he's gone through in his life, the trials and tribulations they've gone through as a family. His dad's a Marine and has done some wonderful things for our country. And bottom line, that's when we first met. And from there, I always wanted to do something for him. During my classes at Notre Dame, I studied management consulting, which gave me a little taste for everything in business, marketing, strategic planning, leadership, finance, accounting. I had multiple classes where we were told to, put something together, whether it was like a GoFundMe, for instance, or a plan or a strategic, plan for a business. And mine was Big Man, Big Heart. That was enlightened by the fact that I have a brother that also played tight end back in the day and got switched off to tackle when he went to Stanford. He didn't have such a great story as far as his performance on the field, just because he ended up hurting his knee. He blew out his knee twice, ended up going full circle and actually going to Notre Dame Law School while I was up there in undergraduate. So with my brother's help and, with my whole family involved, we kind of put a plan in place that if I was ever able to use my name and likeness, that I could start a nonprofit, that I could raise some money, and I could help out people like Timothy Donovan, individuals in the darkest corners of the earth that need their story told, to give somebody like Timothy their day in the sun. So as it turned out, I had a great experience at Notre Dame. Of course, I went through my struggles. Timothy went through his over our 4-year experience. Ended up transferring to Florida State, as you guys know. And during that time period, the NCAA came out and allowed us to use our name, image, likeness. The state of Florida is actually one of the first states to be able to have that in action, and for us to use our name, image, likeness, and quarterbacks could make money, get new sports cars, or guys were signing underwear deals on that first day. There's a lot of cringy things happening. I wanted to add something refreshing to the equation, and that was a GoFundMe for my friend Timothy Donovan, to get him to my first game, which at the time we were playing Notre Dame, which is a little bit fresh in everybody's hearts, and. As we got closer to the day, in 24 hours, we raised about $30,000 for Timothy and his family to help elevate his quality of life and provide a wonderful experience for him to come to the game and not really have any stresses. So that turned from $30,000 into $90,000 within a month. It was it's kind of insane, right? And people,
yes.
You're always told to keep your eyes open for opportunities in life, and that was an opportunity that I had to take advantage of. An opportunity that the only way I could see that is if I had my education from Notre Dame. The amount of good that could be done by just some dumb offensive lineman, something ugly, and no one cares. No one cares about me. No one cares if I'm out there and unless I'm giving up a sack or getting a holding call or jumping off sides. It's the only time you ever hear my name. Well, as it turned out, I started Big Man, Big Heart with that premise. I didn't name it, Dillan Gibbons nonprofit. I named it Big Man, Big Heart, something bigger than myself and bigger than anybody else that's going to be involved. So with that simple ambition, we went ahead and applied ourselves to the IRS, ended up getting accepted and getting our charitable status invoked. And we started off. I recruited collegiate ambassadors from all over college football, individuals that had stories similar to me and Timothy Donovan, individuals that are going through struggles, people, dealing with natural disasters, car crashes, little kids with cancer, the worst possible stories you could find to help people, not only on the raising money side of things, but in the telling their stories. And over the past 2 years, we've raised over $500,000 for people in need. And we've had right now, it's over 50 million interactions with the content we posted to my Twitter, Instagram, and to the GoFundMes themselves.
Wow.
A lot of stories have been told, a lot of people's lives have been changed, and none of this would have been possible without name, image, and likeness. And the worst thing to think about is that if that ruling didn't come out, none of this would have been possible.
Right.
Lives wouldn't have been changed, and we wouldn't have been able to do this much good. So, of course, there are some bad people to pick at in name, image, likeness, some awful things happening across the country. There's always some shining lights, and that's something I hope I did during my experience at Florida State, and something I hope my legacy will leave behind.
How about that, man? Come on, bring it. If there's not an award you haven't won yet, I think you're going to win it based on that alone. Just this effort. And I know, being an offensive lineman, I get the mentality, everything that you just said. There's never anything positive, that we can possibly do, in a game or when you hear our name or see it in a press clipping. And it's not about that. And that's not what this organization is about. It's not about you at all, but I'm happy that you have been rewarded. And I'm happy that you have been on this massive stage to present all this good that can be done when people come together and rally and for a common good and a lot of common goods. And so, man, we can't be more proud of you. Your story has been so much fun to watch. I just wanted to ask the goal of this thing. When your time comes to an end, as that's ticking very quickly at Florida State, what's the goal of this organization? What's your role going to be in this organization for maybe years to come?
Yeah, so I think that it kind of points back to my own goals, right? And leaving Tallahassee and leaving the environment that I'm in, whether that be all of college football or just ACC football, in a better place than when I got here on the first day. Big Man, Big Heart has done that. But the continuation of our mission, the continuation of the support that we've offered to the ACC, to all of college football, that's something I hope to have. With my family, with my support system, my brother Riley Gibbons does a great job. We'll be able to continue what we're doing with Big Man, Big Heart. My collegiate ambassadors, guys like Jordan Travis, people from all over the country that have stepped up, taken times out of their own lives and taken money out of their own pockets to help with these charitable causes. That's something that's going to continue. So I really hope, and these awards, it's real weird and it's real awkward to be getting awards for doing something, for good. Right. It's never really the intention. But I hope that these awards help to educate more athletes in the power of doing good. And the power of one offensive lineman with an idea and how they can help raise attention to people in their lives going through struggles. I mean, the other day was a pretty powerful message. When we had a transfer, Greedy Vance, he ended up doing very well at Florida State this year, and he's one of the best players in the league. He got to go home for the first time after we helped him out with some hurricane issues that he had back home. And he got to see the impact of that money, the impact of that fundraiser. And that is something that I hope more people see. Because people know athletes are going through struggles all the time, whether that be, in town while you're at your university or back home off the field. People are going through things. We have players at Florida State show up on the first day living in their car, I hope that athletes see that there's more that could be done. That name, image, like this isn't just about getting yours, and that there's more people you can help while you're at your universities and wearing those caps and playing football at an elite level.
Where did that mindset come from? I mean, this is obviously it's uncomfortable to ask for people for money. It's uncomfortable to go into these situations that, quite frankly, suck and want to help. In this world that everybody tells you, Dillan, worry about yourself. Don't worry about everything else. Go get yours. Where did that come from where you had the initiative to do this stuff?
Yes, sir. I think that I have an old school mindset, right? Name image like this is great. It's a great tool. I can see the value of going out there and reaping and getting some money out of this experience. But I started college football where I wasn't getting anything, right? I was getting a great place to live. I was getting, free housing. I was getting free food. I was playing football and I was getting a degree. Like, that's enough for me. I don't need to go out there and get these, $50,000 a year contracts, whatever it might be. Like, I remember when I was a little kid, like, that was the dream, right? And I think that dream is changing right now, which is sad to say. But call me a college football purist, but all that extra stuff was gingerbread on the top. And if I can leverage that gingerbread to do incredible things, more than my own personal name, image, and likeness, then I'm going to do that 10 times. I know that I'll have other opportunities in life to make money, whether that be for playing professional football, whether that be leveraging what I've learned in the classroom at Notre Dame or at Florida State, getting my MBA. But while I was here, I wanted to do the most radical good I possibly could. I want to try to inspire other athletes to do the same.
Just so well said. And I think Dylan, Mac and I can really relate. We're a little older than you, so we were definitely pre-NIL, but the only dream I had as a kid was to play college basketball. And then I didn't know what I was going to do after that. And I think Mac was very similar with college football, even though Mac does think he's a hooper, but that's a different story. So we relate very much to that, Dylan. And I really love your perspective on that. We need to talk Florida State here, and we need to talk this turnaround because just unbelievable what you guys have done. And you've been a huge part of this. Last year, you come to FSU, you graduate from Notre Dame, of course, get that degree, you're getting your MBA. And I'm assuming in your mind, you're thinking, okay, I'm from Florida. I want to help turn this program around. You guys start 0-4. I can't imagine that start and just what was going on internally, what you were hearing externally, all that stuff. And then you have this year where you're going for a 10th win. How did that happen? How did the transformation happen for you, year one at FSU to year two in the team's success?
Well, yeah, it was a little bit of a cultural shock, not only in the type of player that's in the locker room, but my first experience through those first 4 games. At Notre Dame, we won a lot of football games.
Yeah.
We went to bowl games every year I was there. We had some undefeated seasons, and overall, we didn't lose many games. And if we lost games, they weren't those close games that we lost. It was a devastating loss. All that happened in those first 4 games, that was completely necessary to have the success we've had this season. Something Coach Norvell's done a great job of is implying or putting on a culture into a system and seeing how people react, right? Creating adverse moments and seeing who goes out there and plays football and who, wants to go home, those type situations. So when you do have those first 4 games of last season, you get to see what people are made out of. And it really reveals a lot about people's character. I mean, at that point, people at Florida State, or a lot of the athletes at Florida State, weren't really used to winning a lot of games. But when you come into a new season, a new opportunity, and you lose 4 games right away, it allows you to pinpoint a few guys on the team that aren't necessarily living up to that standard. And all those moments that Florida State's been through with Coach Norvell so far has allowed Coach Norvell to point out those differences in young men throughout the locker room. So I, of course, got to see it right there in front of me, whether that be in my offensive line room, guys responding to losses, guys responding to adverse situations. But it did help our team because even during my experience at Notre Dame, when we were winning a lot of games, right, with guys like Quentin Nelson, Mike McGlinchey, Sam Mustipher, Alex Bars, some of the great offensive linemen in the NFL right now, you got to see complacency through wins, right? And you can see the same thing through losses. But the process never changes in wins or losses at Florida State. That's what's remarkable. If we go out and we absolutely smoke a team, like, sorry, Miami this year,
Don't apologize.
It didn't matter what the outcome was. It didn't matter how bad we beat Miami or if we beat Florida. It didn't matter. All that mattered was the next game. All that mattered was that Monday practice or the Tuesday practice, the Sunday practice right after the game. Those next steps of development, those next steps of putting in place a game plan so we can have the same success, that's all that mattered. So even if we lost games, the process was the same as if we were winning. And even the way they break down film and things like that, like even in our greatest victories, where you want to sit down and analyze every play that our offensive line, did a great job in. We didn't always have time to, It's the same process. It doesn't matter if we won or lost. That's something I really respect Coach Norvell for. And that's something I respect our whole team for, and how they've been able to, come up in those moments, win those games and move on very quickly. The same when we lost those games. When I look back at the season, and I know this might make me sound dumb or something, I don't really feel like we lost any games. At least from my performance and the performance of the offensive line and the offense as a whole, it's hard for me to go back and point at some pivotal moments where our team just completely destructed, because it never happened. Our team didn't fall apart. When we did, get down, we finished the game very strong. And it's hard to pinpoint some moments in the game where I lost any confidence in our team, our ability to come back and win that game. It reminded me of how I watch NFL football games, right? Where teams are always in the game. Those guys are out there to make money. They're out there to get theirs. And there's nothing in the world that could potentially get in the way from us trying to accomplish that goal at any point in the game. It doesn't matter about the swing of the crowd, the momentum, whatever it might be. I always felt like we were in those games. So that's been the incredible part. During my time in between the two different locker rooms, I mean, the cultural value dimensions accepted into both locker rooms. We don't have a bunch of cookie-cutter guys at Florida State, and that's what makes it remarkable. Especially on the offensive side of the ball, the ball I get to see every day, and all the guys I get to spend time with. We have some really unique pieces, some really unique guys. And it's incredible to see that group come together. It's incredible to see guys fighting for each other in games where we had success in the run game. I mean, that wouldn't have been opened up without our receivers blocking their tails off.
Sure.
Guys like Johnny, just grabbing dudes and mauling them all the way down the field. That stuff isn't highlighted enough. But in our ecosystem, within our offense, that stuff was put up on a pedestal. Sacrificing for each other, the consistency for each other, and that day in, day out growth is something incredibly, uplifted within our program.
I don't think there's any question that FSU's right here. Like, there's a step that can be taken where it's back to the level of dominance, it's back to the level of greatness, and certainly you guys have laid that foundation. You talk about incremental development and things taking time, and guys buying in and this and that. This offensive line in the past 5 years, we'll take this year out of it, and last year was horrendous. I mean, it was one of the worst in the entire country. Now it has evolved into the best in the ACC, and in my opinion, one of the best in the country. I don't know how you guys weren't up for the Joe Moore Award. We'll talk about that at another time. But we saw that right before our eyes. How did that happen so quickly?
Yeah, well, one of the easy things to point to, I guess, is Alex Atkins. And the development that's happened within our offensive line room, and having so many awesome individuals that are willing to take time out of their day to develop this group. It hasn't just been focused on the guys that are, up and rising, which is a pitfall that programs fall into when they don't have success in their offensive line unit. They're like, hey, these old guys suck. Let's focus on these young guys. Let's get them right. Maybe bring in a couple guys, and we'll have a good offensive line here in 3 or 4 years. Coach Atkins has done an incredible job, not only in the development side for those younger, generations of Florida State offensive linemen, but in the picking a few pivotal pieces we need out of the portal. And that of course happened with me. Me coming to Florida State, but more importantly, guys like Dimitri Emanuel, guys like Jazz, and wonderful guys like Bless. I mean, those are guys that are ready to come in and play football at an elite level. Guys that already had understanding coming in of what kind of offense we would be running, and maybe it was similar to what they came from, schemes and fit. It was crazy to see a guy, our group, we had 5 guys that played a majority of the games this year. We didn't necessarily have to go to that 7th or 8th guy many times this year. But it was crazy to see that continuity being built out of a bunch of pieces that were found from all over college football. And to see that happen, to see us have that kind of success is an absolute testament to what he's been able to do in bringing guys into the program and developing guys that have already been here. As you pointed to, those offensive line groups of 3 or 4 years ago, those are guys that are pieces in our offensive line right now. Guys that had a horrible disadvantage, coming into college football, not necessarily as developed as you'd like them to be, and having to play at an elite level, right? And forced early to have those mistakes. And that isn't an easy thing to hide from once you've already had that in your career. It takes reps out of the body, and it takes a lot of mental strain to come back from that. So it's been great to see the development, especially in those guys that have played a lot of snaps here at Florida State over the past 4 years, and some of those pieces he brought in, like Meach and Jazz, guys that are able to come in and absolutely manhandle dudes in the ACC. It was amazing to see, and I'm so proud of him, and I'm so proud of all those guys that came in.
Dylan, it's finally time in this interview to talk about Cheez-Its, and I know you've been waiting.
Yeah, so, Eric's telling me he wakes up every morning feeling the cheesiest.
I just reach over and grab the cheese, and I'm ready, man. Let's go.
That's right. And I'm a big Prince Chedward fan. I think he's the weirdest, creepiest mascot ever, and I think it's hilarious. So please say hi to him for me. But let's talk about the Cheez-It Bowl. And one thing that Mac and we've been breaking down all these bowl games, I think especially now with players opting out and all these things, when you're evaluating a bowl game, you need to evaluate which team cares more. I mean, I think that's the bottom line. And when I look at the Cheez-It Bowl and I see Florida State going for a 10th win, I really don't care who the opponent is. I mean, Oklahoma's a big brand. I think the 6-6 is interesting there. But for me, it's obvious that FSU cares about this game, trying to get that 10th win. How important is this bowl game for you and your teammates?
Yeah, we care more. Let me tell you, in our locker room, they just redid Florida State's locker room. It's absolutely amazing. It's absolutely incredible. Nothing like I experienced my whole college career. But we have a trophy room in there. And right there in the little corner while we're walking into our locker room every morning, there's a list of the teams that had 10-win seasons. And that is something held up pretty high at Florida State. That's something that was addressed to us in the beginning of the season. That's something that's been addressed to us ever since we were on this path, this trajectory. And that's something that we're all real passionate about. I think that the day and age of athletes, saying that they're not going to play in bowl games, I think that's over. Unless I guess there's specific cases of athletes that aren't necessarily playing in these bigger bowl games where it could make sense. But for our team, our guys are playing. We're coming out there. We're very excited to have this opportunity to play together. I think I've been saying it since the Clemson game. I mean, every opportunity I've had with this group of guys has been incredible. I have so much trust for the guys next to me, with Robert Scott, Maurice Smith, and everybody else on our offensive line. My relationship with Jordan Travis has developed into one of my best friends over the past 2 years. Someone that I have a lot of respect for, and that I was up there this weekend at that event. And it's hard for me not to see him there. He is the highest level quarterback I've been around over my 6 years of college football, and it's absolutely remarkable the things he's able to do. When you're talking about a guy that's willing to sacrifice, life limb to go out there and play football games, it's amazing. And the best part about it is we haven't had to do that many times this season. We haven't had to tell Jordan, "Hey, Jordan, go win this game." And to have a guy like that on my team, it's hard not to have that kind of passion going into this week.
Yeah.
The greatest advantage, too, like I talked about earlier with Coach Norvell, is this would be some of these guys' first experience in a bowl game, right? Could be an experience they've never had before in their whole lives. This allows our team to get to that championship level caliber. And I know, Eric, I know you know about this. I mean, the greatest differentiator right now from Florida State to a team like Clemson is that Clemson has been there before. Clemson knows how to win games. Clemson, even when I was playing them against Notre Dame, when they got into a pickle in the fourth quarter, they would go out there and play their hardest they ever played to go out there and win that game. And it's because of the caliber of games they've been in before, and it's because of that championship level mindset they had. So it provides our team a great opportunity, an opportunity to go out there and win a game that means a lot to us. And at the end of the day, it's going to allow for some other distractions to pop up. I mean, as you guys know, we'll have more time as we get to that bowl site. And maybe we'll have 3 hours of free time at night, and it dwindles down as the week progresses. But it does give our team another opportunity to show what they're made out of. So I'm excited about that test. I'm excited to be able to, hopefully have confidence in our team to be able to come together in a time like that and perform the way that Florida State's supposed to perform. It doesn't really matter if we're playing
Right. That's true. It's all about you. It's all about you. And kind of along that mindset, I mean, what do you want to see from this team? The last game, for a lot of these guys together, what do you want to see from your guys going out there in a game like this?
Consistency, effort, sacrifice, and finish. How do you tell if someone's committed to a program, right? You tell by how much they're willing to sacrifice for the guy next to them, how much they're willing to put in for the guy next to them. And I don't care if you're a guy like I don't know who you want to point to, a guy that's going to be playing in the NFL next year, a guy like Fabian Lovett or whoever it might be, Jamie. Right now, it's so pivotal in our trajectory. Our performance in this last game, our ability to keep performing, especially after a regular season, and our ability to keep training. So taking this opportunity, taking it day in, day out, day by day, and trying to get 1% better every day, up until game day, and going out there and doing our job and leaving this place in a better place than we found it.
There you go, man. I don't know if you have any eligibility left, but you should come back so we can do this again next year. That would be fun. Dylan, you're impressive, brother. I've already known that, and it's been fun to cover you these last 2 years, but very grateful for your time, buddy, and excited to see you go out with an exclamation point.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you guys, and thank you so much for having me on today.
Thanks again to Dillan Gibbons for joining us. I mean, what a guy. And go check out Big Man, Big Heart. Find it on Twitter. Find their website. A lot of people at times around the holidays want to give contributions and donate. That would be a great cause. And just thanks again to Dylan. I mean, he's a CEO. He's got a bunch of things going on, and he spent like 20 minutes with us, which we really appreciate. And as we've said, our podcast is brought to you by Duke's Mayo. And Mac, this is where dukesmayo.com, by the way, great place to get some mayo for your loved ones for Christmas. But this is basically the segment where I ask Mac, what you cooking? And what
Yeah.
you using from dukesmayo.com?
It's on the menu big time this coming tomorrow, actually, the 20th. We're throwing down. We're having a little pre-Christmas celebration, if you will. My brother-in-law is coming over, Cannon Smith. Shout out, Big Can Dog. His wife, Ashley, and Kaki's mom and dad, my in-laws, Bill and Beth. Everybody's coming to the house. Little Amelia Rose, her first Christmas. And we're doing a beef tenderloin.
Ooh.
And let me just tell you, I am over the moon excited to do this because it's not challenging, but it's something I've never done before. And basically, if you don't know what that is, it's this massive slab of meat. And you have to trim it. You have to get all the fat out of there. You can leave a little, but you want a majority of it out. Then you have to wrap it to make sure it's balanced. You want, kind of similar width, if you will, of your meat throughout the entire deal. And so to get this thing really rolling, I'm putting your favorite, the Duke's Mayo Mustard.
Oh, yes.
All over this thing, then just totally layering it up with some fun, kind of just different seasonings, KG, that get you going.
Yes.
So that's the only Duke's part of that. And you put it in there, you cook it for about an hour, low and slow, take it off, crank that thing up. We're going to sear each side for about 2 to 3 minutes. Then it's going to be perfect. Little fillets. It's going to be unbelievable. Then you have this kind of horseradish mayo sauce. Duke's Mayo will be all over that. It's going to be unbelievable. I cannot wait. The sauces here that will be combined on this amazing meat dish is really what's going to take it over the top. That little southern something, I like to say, KG, that makes good things even better. And you guys will see it. We'll put it in Wednesday's episode. I'll have it all documented. You're not going to want to miss that.
It's going to have twang, Matt.
It'll have twang. It will absolutely
have twang.
100 years of twang, if you will.
Yes, I will. I'm hungry. And I'm also hungry for some Cheez-Its. The Cheez-It Bowl, number 13, Florida State 9-3 versus Oklahoma 6-6. This is 5:30 on ESPN on December 29th. Florida State right now is a 7.5-point favorite, and the total is 66. We've talked about, why Oklahoma's in this game. I think we all get it. It's a major brand. You and I have talked about how we would have loved to see FSU Oregon. That would have been a great game, whether that was Cheez-It or whatever. But this is what we have. And if you're Florida State, we heard Dillan Gibbons say, we care more. He literally said that. We care more. Yeah. I think this game means so much and matters so much to Florida State to get that 10th win in a season where some people were asking, even we were asking, are they going to go bowling because of how tough the schedule is?
Right.
And this team has just performed above and beyond. And I just love what Dillan Gibbons said. We care more, and that's what matters in these games.
No question about it. And quickly, I do want to harp on this one more time. This will be the last time. Out of all the opponents that are in this matchup of the ACC, all 9 games, I would argue that this is the worst. And it's our second best team.
But they had to go Big 12. They had to go Big 12.
Had to. I guess.
TCU's in the playoff. K-State's in the sugar. That's kind of the hard part.
So it would have been K-State. That's crazy.
Yeah, probably.
TCU, all you have to do is handle business. And that matchup would have been nuts. Okay, I'm not as mad anymore. I understand. It's just a bad league. There's nobody else around. So when you look at this, KG, it's really going to be interesting because of that care factor, because of that we have something that we want to accomplish. 10 wins, how important that is to our team. The way that we're playing, the level that we're playing at, everybody's coming back. There's a lot of excitement, especially on the offensive side of the ball there and the skill players that they have. So I think just take that number, throw down. Whatever you can afford, throw down. Because I think that FSU, I think they dominate this game. I think their running attack is going to absolutely blister Oklahoma. I think when you look at Jordan Travis and the way that he has played, the confidence that he is playing right now, I don't think he can be stopped. And then on the defensive side of the ball, Oklahoma has a lot missing. These guys, both starting tackles out. Leading rusher who has over half of Oklahoma's carries, more than half of their rushing yards, which that's what they've done. 520 rushing attempts as a team. That's a ton. He's not playing. This Oklahoma team is not going to be the team that you've seen all year. This is going to be a shell of that. And I think Florida State dominates. I think they take full advantage. I don't think they care about the 6-6. They don't care about the brand. It's all about them. They want to make a statement. They're going to be preseason top 10, KG. I think that's truly going to happen.
Well, and this could also be the beginning of Jordan Travis's Heisman campaign. We've seen Heisman campaigns get going in bowl games. One of them specifically was Lamar Jackson. He had a great bowl game for Louisville the year before he won the Heisman. Yeah. We've seen it happen. So I think that's what we're going to see from Jordan Travis. You heard Dillan Gibbons talk about how good Jordan Travis is. And then just the running back room is elite. These receivers are very, very good. Jaheim Bell, of course, can't play yet, but they're bringing him in for next year, which is just scary. And I think for some of these guys whose career is going to be ending at this point, like a Dillan Gibbons, this is what they want. They came to FSU to help turn it around. They did that. To put together FSU's first 10-win season since Jimbo Fisher would be a really, really big deal. And for Oklahoma, I think because you have the brand, that's going to help. FSU's already going to be up for this game. I'm not questioning that at all. But you do have a big brand, so that, can add to it. But you talk about OU's defense going up against FSU's offense. I don't care who's opting out. This defense has been bad. They've just been so bad this year. And they gave up literally 1,000 points to Texas in that Red River rivalry. As much as Mac and I love Brent Venables and hope Brent Venables succeeds, he has had a lot of work to do, and there's still a lot of work to do with this Oklahoma team. So you have the brand, which I think will bring eyeballs and will make sure FSU's not overlooking anything. But this game, definitely, it's FSU's to lose. I really don't see how you can make an argument the other way.
Right. And I think, again, just when you look at who's playing at a super high level, I mean, seeing Trey Benson run the way that he has been, where there was a stretch there, for 3 or 4 weeks where, he broke his season high, career high. He broke his career high, he was just getting better and better and better and better. And just playing at this high level with that offensive line that, even if it was a good defense, it's hard to stop. Mind you, not a defense that's given up 500 yards a game, 30-plus points. It's going to be extremely tough for them. So I think FSU is going to be jacked up. I think that their coaching staff is going to have a plan of attack to, really get going at a very high level. And then, as you said, that hype for next season is going to be big time. So excited to see it. Can't wait to see it. This is the easiest pick of the bowl season for me, KG. I'm rocking with the Noles. I think that they absolutely handle business and make a statement in this game.
Why is FSU only a 7.5-point favorite?
I don't know. I have no idea.
The Oklahoma factor? This game's in Orlando.
Yeah, you look at history. I mean, I think FSU's beaten these guys once. I think it's
more
but
they haven't played that much. In recent years.
I don't know. I agree with you. But yeah, the home field advantage piece in Orlando, I don't know. Vegas sometimes always knows. Certain teams they don't.
Seems fishy.
It's a little fishy. And it's still it's been 7.5 since the game kind of was out. Maybe no one's biting on it. I don't know. Not a lot of action. I'm not sure. Well, FSU can prove Vegas wrong, I guess, with this at 7.5. I think we're both taking FSU minus 7.5. What about that total? 66. That's a lot. I mean, I just don't know how Oklahoma's going to score. I mean, I know that Gabriel's a great player. He's had a up and down season. I mean, there's been spots where wow, that's it. But just missing those 2 tackles, I think Jared Verse is going to go nuts. I think Gabriel's going to have to be running for his life there. I think under is the really smart play. I'm leaning under. Unless you just think FSU is going to air these guys out, I think under is the way to go. Think about 35-10. That's way under. Right. So that's kind of where I would see this, even at a 35-17. Yeah, I will say under. This though. I will say, this is intriguing to me. There have been people on the Twitter sphere that really don't believe in Florida State's pass defense. Interesting. Statistically, I don't understand that because they're number 1 in the ACC and top 5 in the country. So you can argue that maybe they haven't played the best quarterbacks. This may be the better quarterback they've played in quite some time. But I still don't. But where are the weapons? That's exactly right. I just don't see it. I don't see it. And they don't pass. They run. They literally have run more than double of what they've passed. They're not just going to all of a sudden become an air raid team. Maybe it was the points and yards they gave up to Florida. And that's what Vegas is looking at. It's a rivalry, though. Vegas, take a note out of the history books. Come on. Mm-hmm. Florida State minus 7.5 and the under. That's where I'm going, man. I think this game's pretty easy to pick. Stealing money. It's stealing money, in my opinion, KG. But great episode. This was fun. Dillan was, like we said, one of the best we've ever had, if not the best. Big shout out to Derek Satterfield making it happen. We appreciate you, brother, coordinating. Big man had just landed from New York. He's back home. He's trying to have family time. He's big time. And luckily enough, he jumps on with us. So we're greatly appreciate Dillan of his time. Great family. Love conversing with a lot of those family members on Twitter, going back and forth. he was raised the right way and has a great cast around him. But that's it from us, guys. Please go over to YouTube right now. If you're watching us, mash that subscribe button. If you're listening to us, hop over there, search Graham Lincoln Mac Lane. We would appreciate your support there as well. You can also go over to iTunes. We're all over that. Rate, review, subscribe. So fun to hear from you guys. But until next time, we'll see y'all.